Hello again and welcome everyone to yet another video about the POCO F7 Ultra. Now the reason why we are returning to this phone is because when I attended the event for the grand launching of the POCO F7 Ultra in Singapore last week, there were two things that caught my attention. Number one is the super resolution feature, and number two is the smart frame rate. Yeah, smart frame rate. So these two features are kind of mysterious, and I did not test them in the original gaming test of the POCO F7 Ultra because I don't know what they do, and I was really running out of time because I was flying back and forth other countries for the past month. So in today's video, we are going to quote-unquote review those two features. So do like and subscribe, as that will really help us out a lot. And these two features are kind of working independent of each other, but you can use them both together if you want to. So first, let me just show you how to actually activate the feature. So you swipe up from here, you can see there's a little white thing there, the semi-transparent bar. You swipe in, then you get this menu here. This is where you can change between balanced and wild boost. I will just be using it in wild boost mode because you get the best performance possible. And then you can enter performance setting here, and this is where you can change your performance strategy. I'm just going to be bothered by this enhanced visual settings here because when you change to picture priority, it will lock it down to super resolution, and then if you go for frame rate priority, it will change it to the smart frame rate feature. So if you turn on custom though, you can enable both of these as you like. So you can just turn on either one or both of them, or just change the visual style to bright, saturated, game HDR, whatever that you want. In a way, these two options, the picture priority and frame rate priority, are like presets that automatically change these enhanced visual features for you. But what do they actually do? This is a question that I find it to be kind of difficult to answer you. So first of all, the render resolution for Genshin Impact is 1920 by 863, I think. You cannot change that. Now, even though the super resolution feature by its name sounds like it's gonna double your render resolution or whatever, it does not. This is actually an upscaler. So how I know this is an upscaler is because, as you can see, just stare at the image here, this is what you see. If I turn it on, you can see the background slightly changes. There's some sort of sharpening feature going on here, and this kind of sharpening is very common when it comes to AMD FSR and also NVIDIA DLSS. Now, one of the methods that we can find the render resolution reliably is by using Genshin Impact's in-game camera, because this works. It's a 1:1 representation. We can just take a picture without the super resolution feature turned on, and then take another picture with this super resolution turned on, and I have already done that. So yes, there is a difference, even though it's kind of subtle. And then for the smarter frame rate, this is a bit more difficult to explain because from what we know, we actually asked the POCO guy, Angus. He's the head of marketing, global marketing for POCO, I believe. And he said that this smart frame rate option is to interpolate frames to 120 FPS in Genshin Impact. And it will work for every game because they're not using the built-in frame interpolation on the Snapdragon 8 Elite. So this is an in-house solution from POCO themselves. So what it actually does, as you can see here, this is VTool Scene. You can check out our video at the top right corner here to know how it actually works and how to enable it. And there is also another built-in frame rate monitor inside this widget. So as of now, if I turn off the smarter frame rate, it will both show more or less the same frame rate, okay? Now, if I enable smart frame rate, you can see this number drops to 40, but this one goes up to 120. I tried making some sense out of the math, but it doesn't really seem like it's making any sense. So if you know what's happening with the frame rates, then do let me know. And all I have to say is that when you swipe around, sometimes it will show some sort of a frame dips, I suppose. You know, this feature is like when your TV has the memc feature and then certain frames that they cannot interpolate, and all of a sudden it just drops back down to the original frame rate and it just looks like it's stuttering. Yeah, the same thing kind of happens here. As you can see, it does show that it is consistent 120, but if you kind of play around, walk around, you know that this is not actually consistent 120. So let's just go around in Genshin Impact and see how things go with the smart frame rate option turned on. Because I find this to be fascinating, because it seems like all of the phone brands know that using the raw performance of the Snapdragon 8 Elite is a mistake, and they just incorporate all these kind of features to boost efficiency and also battery life of their phone, so that gamers can play for a longer period of time without burning their hands. So you can see the frame rate here, it really doesn't feel like 120, it's a bit stuttery as well, sometimes, not always, and sometimes it's super smooth. So this is weird. So if we're looking at the grass, yeah, it is definitely really smooth, but if we look up to the scenery, it's not as smooth. So I think we should record the frame rate here and then start journeying inside this new area and see how things go. I kinda actually want to get Veresa as well. She's kind of unique, but I kinda already got my best team, which is Nuvilette, so I'm not sure if I want to get another character. Anyway, let's go in. Yeah, you can see those frame dips there. That's when the interpolation doesn't work properly, and it's kind of jarring sometimes, not always, but that's just how frame interpolation works. When it works, it's super smooth, but when it doesn't, then your experience will be a bit weird because they have to drop back down to the original frame rate for a bit. Okay, so the quick test with the smart frame rate is done. And now let's just try with the super resolution feature turned on. I'm not sure how well this will work, but we'll see. We will monitor the, what's that again, the wattage. That's the most important metric of all, because if you put in more wattage, then it will be hotter, hence everything stems from your wattage. Weak. Oh. I want my treasure. So yeah, that's enough for just super resolution alone. Now let's try both of them together. this would be interesting. If they can manage to drop the wattage down, then it's already achieving what it's supposed to do. Oh, that's nice. And then they just drop down. Should I even drop down in the first place? No one said I wanted to get into this thing. Yeah, the frame skips are definitely happening. Oh my god, this thing is so annoying. Oh my god, more of these things. I hate this enemy. Wait. Why does he have a name in the HP bar? Is it some sort of mini boss? In theory, if we enable both of these options together, then it's supposed to lower the power consumption to its lowest. So I'm not sure if that's the case. We will do the analysis right now. So if we head to VTool scene, we can see that originally this is just a short test. We can see the super resolution when it is turned on, it is still 1920 by 863. Even when we did the original gaming test, it is also 1920 by 863. Average power consumption was 4.8 watts at that time. You can see the power is scattered all around, so the average is 4.8. The frame rate average 55.7, smoothness is real good, and the temperature 44.4 degrees Celsius. So when we enable just the smart frame rate option alone, we can see the frame rate, as what we have said earlier, it only reports 40 FPS. I have no idea why. So that is why the smoothness is at 0%, because it needs to be above 45 FPS to be considered quote-unquote smooth. But the average power has dropped from 4.44 to 4.18 only. So these are all of the details that we can get. Remember, the frame rate value here doesn't actually make sense, because when we do play the game, it is indeed sometimes smoother than 120 FPS, and sometimes it does dip to the original 60 FPS, making us feel like it's lagging, but it's actually not. It's just dropping the frame rate between 120 and 60 back and forth. And then if we turn on super resolution, you can see render resolution is still the same, 1920 by 863, but the average power consumed is slightly higher, so 4.64 watts. And these are all of the data that we can get. It's quite weird to see it that way, but when we enable both of them together, average power consumption is 4.54 watts. Now, all of these variances could be due to that we are not testing at the exact same location, doing the exact same things, but with a game like Genshin Impact, it's very difficult to make it consistent throughout the test. So that's about it for Genshin Impact. Now, if we head into Zenless Zone Zero, does it actually make a difference? Okay, for Zenless Zone Zero, we once again, yeah, there are ads here. If you swipe in here, there's two tabs. So one Game Bird, which just literally shows you ads, and another one is Game Turbo. So if we hit here, we can see this game also has the two options. Does it actually change anything when we enable or disable it? Okay, for the case of Zenless Zone Zero, I don't think there's any difference if I enable or disable super resolution. I might be wrong because from my own eyes, I can't see any difference at all. So I will just show you a picture comparison with and without the super resolution feature just to see how things go, because with my eyes, they look the same. So with that out of the way, I'll just cut the test short by I guess, oh, that is really annoying. The ad just keeps coming out every single time. What the heck? It doesn't happen to Genshin Impact, but here we are. For the sake of brevity, I'll just enable both of them to see if it actually helps in terms of the flower boss fight. Oh yeah, the frame rate, as you can see, this one is definitely jumpy. The frame interpolation doesn't work well here. I'm not sure if it shows well in the video, but yes, this is definitely very choppy. So if we, oh my god, that ad. If we disable it, it's a lot smoother. Yeah, those are artifacts from frame interpolation techniques. You see, this is smooth without the the smart frame rate, but that ad. But if we enable it, it's a lot choppier. Maybe it is at 40 FPS, I'm not sure, but it's definitely weird because the thing here reports 120, so I'm not sure. Now, according to Xiaomi, they did say that the frame interpolation technique will work for all games, but it seems like for Zenless Zone Zero, it's not really the case because it's kind of stuttery, but we'll see. Yeah, we will enable the recording when we're in the game, and then we can compare it before and after, because remember the original gaming test was without this frame, these two settings. I've been fighting this boss so many times that I've become literally an expert.
It's over. No room for mercy. Don't get burned. Take it off for a bit. You should move. Bang on. Here to assist. It's over. Press forward. Weakling. The flames follow my flow. Direct hit. No forgiveness. It's time. Rocky, Woody, Rocky. We should act now. My blade is already sheathed. I swear on my blade. I like that. Let's pick it up. Charge. An opening. I'm unstoppable. My blade is already sheathed. It's over. Why aren't you laughing? Catch this one. No forgiveness. An opening. Shadowless blade. My blade is already purging flash.
The gameplay is definitely very, very smooth.
Weakling.
I think this is the smoothest phone with this mode. There are definitely frame drops as well, but not as drastic or as distracting as other phones, which is good, real good sign. There we go, that's done. And now let's go and do the comparison with the original gaming test result. Yeah, so you can see the original gaming test was 5.72 watts. The frame rate was fluctuating all around from 30, actually less than 30, all the way up to like averaging mostly at about 40, 50 maybe, somewhere around there. So the frame rate was not that good, but 5.72 watts. So if we enable both super resolution and also the smart frame rate option, it will consume 5.79 watts, slightly higher, but the frame rate, this one you shouldn't believe it because it kind of reports the wrong FPS. I'm not sure which one is the correct one because the built-in FPS meter says 120, but VTool Scene reports 40 at most. Either way, the frame rate consistency here is real good because we are only referring to 40 all the way down to like slightly below 30. Actually, the frame rate here is about the same as the original gaming test as well, so I don't really think it helps with the 5% lows. And here's the power consumption, it goes up and down. And render resolution is the exact same as well, 1920 by 864. Yeah, 1920 by 864 as well. So I don't really know what to make out of this. So we can see 5% lows is 27.8. This one, 5% low, 29.1. Slightly better, but still actually quite bad. And honestly speaking, I don't really have any idea what to make out of those two settings, because they definitely do change how the game behaves, but at the end it doesn't seem like it does much. Because, oh my god, I hate this ad so much. Because as you know, in Genshin Impact, when we do turn on the super resolution, the scene does change. In Zenless Zone Zero, I can't really see much of a difference at all, but the smart frame rate, it does change the frame rate by a lot, but then it makes this V2 scene to report only 40 FPS at most, and this built-in one is at 120. I don't know which to believe, but it does cause, like what we shown earlier, this menu to be a bit more jarring. And if we turn on the smart frame rate, it's a bit jarring, stuttery. And if we turn off the smart frame rate, then it is a lot smoother. Probably it is because running at 40 FPS when it cannot interpolate the frames, and it's interpolating 3 times the original frame rate. Maybe that's the case, I don't know, because when we asked POCO about this, the answer was quite unclear, or maybe just incomplete. I would like to know all of the in-depth details, so if anyone from POCO is watching this video, do reach out to me. I would really like to know what is actually going on, and to, you know, just try to understand the technology, because I do believe phones do need some sort of upscaler technology like AMD FSR or DLSS. I know the ARM ASR exists, but the implementation is still not here yet. And also, this kind of frame interpolation technique is very important, like NVIDIA's frame generation and whatnot. Just imagine that with an upscaler and also frame interpolation, you can lower your power consumption so your battery can last longer, so you can play your games for longer. Your battery wouldn't degrade as fast because you don't need to charge it that much, and you will also not burn your hand because lower wattage means less heat. That's just how physics work. And yeah, I'm very excited for these kind of technologies to be implemented into more phones and also develop further to work on, well, literally all games flawlessly. But that is something that we do not have yet. So maybe in the near future. And yeah, that's the whole video where we quote-unquote review these two features. I really do hate the ad. These two features, the super resolution and the smart frame rate feature. Yeah, they exist, they do kind of work, but you do have to pay attention to what you're doing. But if you just want to play your games without messing around with all of the settings and whatnot, then you don't really have to enable either of these options. Just play with the default option with these two disabled, and just enable the wild boost mode. You're fine. The POCO F7 Ultra is actually very powerful. If you want to know more about the gaming performance of this phone without any trickery and whatnot, then watch our video at the top right corner here or at the end screen. Remember to like and subscribe. I do hope that this video will bring some sort of awareness to what POCO is doing with their phones and settings. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.